This is another episode of the biggest podcast where we have members of the One Bone fam coming in to HQ. This is our first virtual podcast. Basically, we just have guys on here that are doing it in any way, shape, or form. And we've got an amazing guest today, Marc Anthony Sinagoga. Not that Marc Anthony that you know that is singing beautiful, gorgeous tunes with Pitbull and such. But no, Marc Anthony from Ontario, stand-up comedian, a legend on TikTok. He's growing his personal brand. You could definitely dust off that shoulder because you are doing it, my friend. And how does it feel to be doing it?
Dude, I mean, firstly, thanks for having me. Secondly, thank you for even considering me part of the family. I love that. And thirdly, feels great. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying my best out here, trying to keep everybody laughing and stuff. So, you know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to do, dude.
Amazing. I want to talk about something that is very new in your life. I've been doing it for about 3 years now. A lot of members of the One Bone community are doing it as well. That is being a dad, and it's fitting because Father's Day is right around the corner. You have now had a baby girl, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, and when was she born?
June 7th.
June 7th. And just to put it into perspective, this will go out shortly, but it's June 14th. So you are a week in to being a dad, and I want to ask you, how you doing, man? Are you okay? How you handling it? How's the lady? How you guys, going about it?
Belle, let's talk. Dude, it's going great, man. I mean, you hear a lot of things before you become a dad, right? And everyone's just like, it's over, you're done, this and that. And then they also say, but it's worth it. And that's something that you can't fully fathom until you actually have it. You're kind of like, nah, I won't be done. Like, what do you mean it's going to be the best thing ever? Like, and dude, now I could not be more obsessed. Like, I don't want to do anything but just stare at her and, you know what I mean? And just snuggle up and all those cute things. Like, it's the fucking best. Can we swear on this? I don't even know.
Oh, you could do whatever the fuck you want. You're a dad now, okay? I know you've got no holds barred.
Yeah, exactly. No one can parent me, motherfucker. No, So it's great. I mean, the birthing process, I watched the whole thing and that was eye-opening. So I have a whole new respect for my wife in total. Like I can't even explain what I saw. Like she opened like a bag of chips. Like, it was fucked. But like I was blown away. She did no epidural, natural birth, which she really wanted to. So props to her for going through the pain. I felt like completely useless because I'm just watching it. Of course. You need water. What do you need? You know what I mean? Like, just felt like a shitty boxing coach in the corner of the ring doing nothing.
Like in the corner, like, hey, throw up the fist. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, here, let me dab your forehead. So it was great to witness that and be a part of it. And like now, like, yeah, sure, we're not. It's an adjustment, Even our entire house is completely upside down. We're not exactly sleeping the best. Every day, obviously, in the newborn stage is something different. They're going through growth spurts. Yeah. They're in new environments. They're meeting new people. So, like, they're not the most patient individuals, these children. But like I said, fuck, man, I can't. Like, I'm over the moon about it. Like, I can't. I just hold her all day. And my wife's like, you're in fucking La La Land. Like, pay attention. Yeah. We got to clean shit. We got to do laundry. You're just, like, trying to eat her arms. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what you want. She looks just like me. I love it. You know what
I mean? You literally said every exact thing that I could remember from having my first to having my second. On the other side of it, before you become a father, you're given every cliche in the book. Oh, you better get your sleep. Oh, you forget about you time and da-da-da-da. And I think that, the general, especially maybe from the older generation, is always like, the ball and chain kind of aspect of marriage, of kids, of all these things, where I feel like our generation is really trying to have that other perspective and have this real amazing gratitude of just like being able to do these things, being able to continue maybe family traditions. And, you know, again, I have a 3-year-old daughter at home and now a 5-month-old daughter at home. So 2 girls. You're now a girl dad. And again, so many of the members of our community at One Bone, including everyone who works here, you know, all of the partners were all relatively new dads within the past 3 or 4 years. And again, like, you get onto that other side where this is why I wanted to have the chat with you, because you're fresh, you're right up in it, and you're getting that experience of like, I am just a morale booster. That's all I could try and do. And we're not even really good at that when the stress and the anxiety is high, because you're trying to figure out this new, extremely stressful, extremely blessed experience, and you're a fish out of water, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example yesterday where I was like, the baby from 9 to 12 at night seems to be like the Joker, like just an absolute fucking lunatic.
That's called the witching hour.
Well,
and that hour is never an hour.
No, I did not know that, but the witching hour is fucking real. And she starts screaming as if she's being stabbed. And, you know, my wife's overtired, like, God bless her, she's breastfeeding like crazy and all this stuff, and pumping and whatever. So I'm just, you know, when anything happens, because I'm like, hey, I'm trying to calm her down and she thinks I'm doing it wrong or should be doing something else, and vice versa, right? And I'm just like, first of all, you need to just go to the other room and go to bed. Like, just leave me with this ball, shut up. And, you know, you get so testy with each other because you're sleep deprived. So,
oh, of course,
what I've learned in 7 days is that sleep is the most important thing for everybody. Like, for all members of the team, for me to put up with her and feed her and take care of her and do laundry, this kind of thing with the wife, and then for her to take care of the baby and for us to have patience. On no sleep, you have no fucking patience. Like, yeah.
It's literally the definition, I think, of being a parent, especially for me, and it's different for every parent, and every baby. But for me, I really found that, like, kind of cruising altitude between like 3 and 5 months. It's like, okay, we've gotten a little more sleep. We're starting to get with the program. We're starting to understand the ins and outs of our baby as much as we can. But it's this new level of exhaustion that pushes you past any boundary you ever thought you had. And not only that, but as you said, you know, you're an entertainpreneur. You know, you're trying to entertain, and you're trying to still gig and do stand-up shows and put content out there. And the idea of doing all that even before you have a kid is exhausting and overcoming and overwhelming. And then you have a kid and you're balanced with this brand new project that you have to take on, while also figuring out how to maintain your business and maintain your career and maintain your relationship. And, you know, I've been going to therapy a little bit here and there, and for the first time, actually. And he helped me put these things into context where we're trying to take on these new challenges, i.e. being a parent, i.e. being married, i.e. starting a business or having a career. And these are all 3 things that require every ounce of your attention and energy. And here we are splitting it amongst 3 things, you know? So it's definitely, I think it's the greatest challenge I've ever faced. But it's also, like you said, the most rewarding thing. And I think that's what being a parent is all about. It's that unconditional love. This is a job that you would never, ever, ever take on and be paid for. And we're doing it for free, and not only free, but we're paying to do it, you know? So it's a whole other world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, props to you for, I mean, you're clearly doing all of those 3 things very successfully. The business is exploding. I mean, every day I see someone new and more famous repping One Bone. So, I mean, dude, you guys are crushing it. Because I remember when I saw the first ad, and it was just like, you know, only a few guys were wearing the stuff. Or like, you know, I was hearing it word of mouth. You know what I mean? Like, So just absolutely amazing. But my biggest challenge so far that I'm like just realizing, because, you know, my wife's, you know, voicing it, The personal struggle of being away. Like yesterday, I had to go out, right? I have a show tonight, and like I leave, and the whole drive, I'm like, what am I doing? Why the fuck am I going anywhere? I don't want to go anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be there and be helping and staring, and more so just staring. But, you know, and on top of all that is the relationship with my wife, because we're both so focused on the baby, we're not focused on each other. So right out the gate, our relationship's taking a hit. So, I mean, she voiced that yesterday. She's like, we haven't hugged or kissed like in 7 days. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, and like, you know, and it didn't even pop into my head. So like, that definitely is a whole nother challenge that, you know, because before you're only focusing on your significant other and how you can make their life better and all that kind of stuff and be a good husband and so on. So now that you've added a third one, you got to be a good dad, you got to be a good husband, got to be a good comedian, got to be a good content creator, and then also got to monetize all of it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, and feed the family. And you like to be well fed.
Exactly.
You know, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I think your level of awareness a week in is quite extraordinary. You know, it's weird because it's weird to say that I was fortunate in this regard, but my first daughter was born May 2020. So everything was locked down, right? It was a pandemic. Nobody was outside. We were afraid to see our parents at the time because it was literally like the day before, I wasn't even allowed in the hospital. And then they called us and said, okay, you're finally allowed in. So the experience that you're having of going out and having to do a gig tonight, where you're extremely fortunate to be able to just live life again at a normal rate. And it also, like, it feels weird to talk about the pandemic being like kind of this far out of it. But that was such a real experience for me where, again, like when you have a baby, first of all, mom's world stops like completely. You know, if you're fortunate enough to be on maternity leave, then mom's world stops completely. And the sole focus is the baby and making sure that baby and mom are doing okay. And then as a dad or as a partner, your focus then becomes making sure that she's able to maintain her responsibilities by you being that level of support, et cetera, et cetera. And when you have a baby, mom's world stops, baby is the focus. But for most, dad, I guess, has to continue and try to, you know, keep doing his thing. Where, again, for me, my first experience was mom's world stopped, but my world also stopped. So we were home. You know, at the time, I was a radio host, so I was still doing a radio show, but I was able to wake up in the morning, do my radio show, and in the interim, while music was playing, be able to go and check on my wife and check on the baby. And if anything was ever needed in terms of an extra hand, I was able to be there. Where, you know, my brother, for example, just had his first baby 3 months ago, and he had a baby, or his fiance had a baby. He had to go right back to work. So I kind of had this weird privilege, you know, where everyone's world was on pause, where that's the interesting juxtaposition of being a dad and your life having to kind of continue while also having to, you know, handle this new undertaking at home. And like you said, managing all the relationships and making sure that you are okay with your significant other as well, because we put ourselves last. You know, the baby is put first and we put ourselves last. It's only natural. You're trying to figure out how to make sure this thing survives, you know?
And, you know, I mean, I tried my best to cancel every gig in the next 3 months that was under a certain dollar amount. And like, I tried to pack my April, May with as many collaborations, videos, and paid work, and really tried to push myself and, you know, pack the bank account a little bit, give myself a little bit of a buffer so I can spend the next 3-4 months being more available / adjusting, right? Because I always constantly heard, like, you got to give yourself time to adjust. You know, like, fucking doctor pulled me aside and I was leaving the hospital, and she was just like, anything your wife says to you in the next 2 weeks, disregard it. She's like, she was like, just.
I thought the doctor was gonna say, make sure you do it.
Yeah. No, she was just like, she's gonna say a lot of mean shit. She's gonna be sleep deprived. She's gonna be making milk, blah blah blah. Like, you don't understand. She's healing the wounds of the baby not being in there, and also making milk. She's not even a human being right now.
No.
Yeah.
She's a factory.
She's a factory, and her mind is mush. So. Yeah. And I was like, okay, all right. And every time we get into it and my blood starts to boil a bit, I just try to remember that, you know? And I'm trying to be here as best I can and change the narrative. You know what I mean? Like I like you brought up the old generation. We're in a little bit of a transition period. We had a condo downtown. It was just for me and her, so not enough space for a baby. We've been looking for a house, as you know. The market's ridiculous. So,
oh my.
Yeah, so we've moved into my nonna's place here. I'm with my grandparents. Classic Italian move here. And dude, my grandfather wasn't even at the birth, at both births.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
my dad was eating a smoked meat sandwich in the hallway.
Right? So like they don't even understand. Like my grandfather's like, "What are you doing? Go to work."
Yeah.
Like and my grandmother's like, "Hey, yeah, I took the bus home and then I went to work the next day." When I had the baby, and my nonna's like, I saw my baby 7 days in, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, and when that generation is seeing that, like, oh, a midwife is coming to check in. Oh, we're including all these apps, and we have all these appointments, and we're trying, let's call it new age parenting, if you will. They just their mind cannot fathom it, and it causes more friction. Like. It's a blessing and a curse. I'm not going to say that being here and having them exposed, like, the newborn to their great grandparents, all sorts of blessings and great things about it. But that little thing of like, oh, let the baby sleep on their stomach only and never wake them up.
No, they can't compute with the new school and like we have so much information at our fingertips, right? Like any issue, any little cough, any little sneeze that, oh, the baby rolled over this way, you're looking it up, whereas they were definitely not doing that at all, it was just sink or swim at that point.
Yeah. And they're just quoting, dude, they quote doctors like from 67. They're like, when your mom was born in 1965, they said to do this. I'm like, you understand that is 60 years ago.
Changed.
Yeah, 60 years of science. I'm like, women's rights alone has changed the game for pregnant women. So like, just leave us alone, So I mean, I can go on for days about that.
We were talking about your stand up and you do a lot of these characters, and you mentioned your nonna and your nonna, and you're living with them. Having a newborn, that must be a lot. Like you said, there's many blessings to that. There's also a little bit of a balance of like, it's not your home, it's not yours and your wife's place. But out of curiosity, you do this amazing character on TikTok and Instagram, your Nono. And what would Nono's guide to parenting be? You could let the One Bone fam know what Nono says.
I'm telling you, he's already said this 1,000 times to me personally. Go to work. That's what it is. Get up, go to work, do the night shift, do overtime, get your pension. That's all that matters, bro. It's always like, you gotta work, go do overtime, work the weekends, work the holidays, bank it, pay double into the pension. Because my grandfather's living so great because he kept always doubling down on his pension like back in the day. And back in the day, the pension was way higher, like the percentages. So, he's like, I'm telling you, my life is beautiful because of the pension. You got to worry about the 50 years from now. Never mind today. And like, he's just, when he sees me inside at a computer, like right now, before he saw me sitting this, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing a podcast. He's like, on the TV. I'm like, just go outside, bro. Just cut the grass. Go cut the grass. Whatever you plan on doing today, go, So they can't understand it. When I say, I have to tell them, oh, I'm doing a TV interview because that's the closest thing that this is to that.
They'll never get it.
Yeah, and I need that type of focus and silence from them. But,
Yeah, of course. but you need to take out the garbage. Like it's
Exactly.
yeah, it's listen, I thank you for taking the time to step away from the family duties right now, and just very excited to be having this conversation with you. I think we should check in a few months from now and see if you've hit that cruising altitude. I also, I wanted to focus really on dad life because it's so fresh and so new for you. And I think that that's something super relatable for so many of our One Bone fam to hear. But I definitely want to talk about, on another episode with you, a little bit more about your career, a little bit more how you got into this, what fuels you, certain triumphs you've had and struggles. Like I said, I wanted to keep it really dad oriented, and in keeping it so dad oriented and Father's Day, I think we'd be remiss to not giving that monster shout out, of course, to all the moms who are doing it, all the dads who are doing it. It's a new challenge for anyone taking it on. Obviously we've got the OGs like Nona and Nona, and we've got, us as new parents and trying to figure it out. And we've got also the other side of people who want to be parents eventually. And so again, I thank you for your time, for being able to get away. People want to find you. Where can people find you on the interwebs? What do you have going on?
I'm putting out content pretty much every day, so find me at Not Marc Anthony on almost every platform. My full name, Marc Anthony Sinagoga, on YouTube for some longer stand-up clips. Thank you guys so much, man. I mean, I couldn't be happier to be a part of the One Bone family. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and specifically the ones at One Bone. I mean, keeping all the dads looking sharp. So I do appreciate that, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, you know the drill. Onebone.com, at OneBoneBrand on all socials. Marc, I want to talk about what you're rocking today. You are rocking the tropical tie-dye, which is completely sold out. You got in, you got it. I'm rocking the yacht shirt, which is nearly sold out. They're flying. So make sure to hop into onebone.com. We're size inclusive. We've got your perfect dad fit or whatever fit you're looking for. And to talk about the dad fit for a second, you were carrying the bucket with your newborn. You were rocking the brand new One Bone polo. I know the feeling of being a dad and having that coverage when you're going to pick up your kid and your butt not being exposed, or you're lifting them up in the air and your belly's not showing. Out of curiosity, how did you feel? I don't know if that was walking out of the hospital or just going for a stroll, but you're rocking the polo, you're carrying the bucket. How do you feel wearing clothing that like really fits and that you're comfortable in?
Man, I mean, it goes without saying that it's incredible. My favorite thing about the shirts specifically is the shoulder cuts and arms. When you, especially with the polo, I've always liked something with a collar. I feel like, it classes me up a little bit. And you feel like you stand straighter. You feel like you've got more confidence. The shoulders, it gives you a nice cut. I look more built than I am. So I felt like a nice, don't fuck with me dad. You know what I mean?
Let's go. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like the polo especially, I was like, bro, you can't see nothing. I look slim and trim, and I look like I got these jacked Dwayne Johnson shoulders, and I don't. So I feel like a tank, and I feel indestructible, man.
Amazing. Wait till you get to the park, or you go like apple picking or strawberry picking. Those are like the activities that really stood out for me, is like you're being totally on the ground and up and down and picking and picking down low. And it's just, again, like that's, we started, or I was custom making my own t-shirts because I was on stage and telling people to put their hands up in the air.
Yeah.
And it just has changed in terms of like what the use cases are for. And it's just amazing to be a dad and be in the playground, and definitely having that awareness that I'm the biggest in the park or at the schoolyard or whatever, but I'm still looking and feeling real good.
Yeah. I mean, I was yesterday, took her for her first little stroller through the store, had to kill some time. My wife was in an appointment.
Yeah.
And babies are just lady magnets, as you know. And this is my first time experiencing this, is,
yes,
all these women are stopping me. And I was wearing the green One Bone polo.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's just like, oh my God, you look so great. What this shirt is so beautiful. This baby, oh my God. And I'm just sitting there fully flexing both my arms, not moving at all. You know what I mean? And like, you feel great, man. Like, and I just feel like I can happily deny 50 women in one shot at one grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, which
You
never
gotta back
happened
them
for
off.
me. Yeah. I'm just like, get out of here. You know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Amazing, man. Again, thank you for the time. Marc Anthony, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us. This is the biggest podcast by One Bone. Peace, love, have the biggest day.
Peace.
Boom.